Hello, I'm Kimberly, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Native News Update. It's Friday, March 29th, and many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryTV.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The Quapaw tribe of Oklahoma filed a lawsuit March 25th, seeking about $175 million in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, alleging past breaches of obligations owed to the tribe by the federal government in connection with mining at Pitcher, Oklahoma. Action over the past decade in federal district court carved out a settlement with the Department of Justice and Department of Interior that could have led to mediation and arbitration, but the Department of Justice threw it back in their face and told them to file a lawsuit. In a rarely used procedure called congressional reference, the tribe is now proceeding in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, the only place where a tribe can sue the federal government. The U.S. House of Representatives authorized the filing of the lawsuit on December 19, 2012, when it approved House Resolution 668, which referred the underlying bill to the U.S. Court of Federal Claims for a report on the amount legally or equitably due to the Quapaw. The tribe said that in its investigation, it found a close relationship among the federal government and the Department of the Interior and the mining companies that contributed to the lack of meaningful cleanup of the land. An ongoing battle between the Moapa Band of Paiute and a Nevada coal plant is really starting to heat up. The tribe has been trying to force the closure of Reed Gardner coal-fired power plant located outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, for years. Recently, they filed suit against NV Energy, claiming that from 2006 to 2011, the company submitted false reports to the state concerning the pollution levels near the plant and received no penalty for doing so. The president of the tribe, William Anderson, says that NV Energy has deceived the state by submitting false reports about airborne pollution levels near the plant to the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection and has created health risks to 320 members of the tribe that live near the plant. The tribe has filed a 60-day notice of intent to sue with the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, Nevada Division of Environmental Protection officials, Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval, and NV Energy. The tribe plans to file the lawsuit in the U.S. District of Court in Las Vegas, seeking damages and an injunction against the company. The Lipan Apache tribe of Texas is taking its religious freedom battle to a federal court. The tribe, which is not federally recognized, hopes to overturn a federal law that claims violates the civil liberties and religious freedom of its people. The tribe alleges that in 2006, a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service agent violated their constitutional right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure during a powwow in McAllen, Texas. The agents allegedly seized 50 eagle feathers from 3 tribal members because the possession of eagle feathers is banned by the U.S. government. But according to the lawsuit, the seizure violated their First Amendment rights to freedom of religion. While the case is technically about seized eagle feathers, at its heart is the battle over which tribes are granted recognition by the federal government. Recognition grants tribes certain exemptions, such as possessing the eagle feathers. As a small boy in the early 1990s, Elmir Seri hunted monkeys with a bow and arrow, wore a loincloth, and struggled with Brazil's official language, Portuguese. At 38, he is techno-savvy, university-educated chief of the Pater Seri, or the real people of the western corner of Brazil. He can still handle a bow, but Chief Elmir says his weapon of choice these days is technology: Android phones to monitor illegal logging, handheld global position system devices to map territory, and Google Earth outreach to show the world what a well-managed forest looks like. Wielding the tools of the 21st century, the 1,300-member tribe has delved into a complex plan in which governments or companies pay for forest preservation, contributing to a system that, if fully realized, would help end large-scale deforestation. By determining how much carbon is not released if the trees on Seri lands are left standing, the tribe hopes to sell carbon credits internationally to offset greenhouse gas emissions in developed countries. It is the first time an indigenous group has applied this type of conservation plan in what would become a model for tribes searching for ways to save their lands. The Crow tribe plans to lease an additional 145 million tons of coal to Westmoreland Coal Company. The lease is located next to Absaloka Mine in southeastern Montana. Tribal Chairman Darren Old Coyote said the lease is worth $12.5 million in bonus and advanced royalty payments over the next 4.5 years. Westmoreland announced the deal March 27th, but it still must be approved by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The company has leased coal reserves from the Crow tribe since 1974. If the deal goes through, it will allow the company to control 357 million tons of coal reserves and resources. A copper bucket carries fresh water from the headwaters of the Mississippi River by a group of Native American women who are walking the length of the river, 1,200 miles, in an effort to raise awareness about pollution. The water affects all of us. We are all water, said Walker Sharon Day, an Ojibwe elder and executive director of the Indigenous Peoples Task Force. The group filled a copper vessel March 1st at Lake Itasca State Park in Park Rapids, Minnesota. Averaging about 30 miles a day, the group is expected to reach the river's end in the Gulf of Mexico around April 29th. 5 walkers will make the entire trip, being joined by other walkers along the way to support the cause. Once they reach their destination, the group will pour the clean water from the pail into the place where the river empties into the Gulf of Mexico in Louisiana. This is where the river is at its most polluted state, Day said. Our goal is to give her a drink of how she started off, to give her hope that she can be that way again. To follow the journey, join the Mississippi River Water Walk 2013 Facebook group. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.